Hey, my name is Chris Bosley. It's Friday the 16th, December 2016. And so, uh, yeah, I'm living at 126 Croydon Avenue, Sydney, New South Wales, Australia, in suburb Croydon Park. I'll just get right into it, um, and I'll talk about it later. This video is going to talk about attacks from the hackers, or not hackers, from the computer criminals in this building. Um, It has to do with the battery, and I've talked about this before, but I removed the battery, and the date is supposed to be Friday the 1st, 11:02, and the time is supposed to be 11:02. Friday the 1st, Friday the 1st, 2010, and the time is supposed to be 11:02. I removed the battery, and about 4 days ago, the battery started having a different time, or when I removed the battery, the phone started having a different time. And what I mean by that is the first 2 weeks, I got the phone, and within a few days, they were attacking and controlling the phone and manipulating the phone, and I saw evidence that they were in the phone. And by that I mean changes to default settings, changes to configurations, weird duplicate browser behavior, um, um, instability, and other things that I have seen all across all the different phones that I've used. So the same behavior I've seen on the E71, the same behavior on a BlackBerry and on a Nokia 1520. So um, they use the same techniques, and then they move them across platforms. And one of the first things they do is they attack the battery. So this one, I made another video about this, and this one they made changes to the battery profile. And I made another video about that. And they changed the battery profile. And then I started noticing changes with the battery charge. And then I started noticing MediaTek battery warning coming up, and it would steal the phone, and as soon as it came up, the battery would stop charging, and the power would drop really quick, and the battery would get really hot, and the phone would get really hot. And then I started noticing that when I took out the battery, the time changed. The default time to begin with was January 1st, 2010. So every time I took out the battery, when I put the battery back in and started up the phone, it was January 1st, 2010 at 11:02. And then I noticed that the date was January 2nd, 2010, and the time was different than 11:02. And then it went back to normal. So I put the phone battery back in, removed the battery, put the battery back in, restarted the phone, and the phone went back to the January 1st, 2010 date, 11:02 time. And now I just started it up again, and I noticed that the time is different. It's still January 1st, but the time is different. The time said something like 16:44. It's been a few minutes now because I'm trying to make a video and I stuffed up a few times, but it says 17:09 now, but the time is supposed to say 11:02 when you start up the phone after removing the battery. So where's the persistent date for the battery kept, or for the phone kept when you remove the battery? I think if it's recovery, if that information is stored in recovery or stored on firmware, I think, then they're changing the firmware, and then they're changing recovery, and they're forcing the changes onto the phone remotely. Now, this phone has not been touched unless they're coming into my unit, and I know they come into the unit, but I'm trying my best to secure the unit, and I don't think anybody was here today when I slept. So if they came into the unit when I was sleeping and grabbed the phone, okay, that would explain it. But otherwise, the only explanation is remotely. And I think they have remote control over the phones anyways. They come into the unit, but that's deniability. That's to say that to hide their remote activity. That is to say, it's not us. You said your unit was entered. Well, they did it when they entered, when in fact they're not doing it when they entered. They're doing it remotely. The fact is that they're always got, the people here work together, and they've always got deniability. And that's the reason why they've always come into the unit. That's the reason why when we first came here, when we didn't even move in, and the first time we tried to open the door was unlocked. Deniability. Because they want this unit and they've been attacking this unit. Plus, they want to train their students with computer attacks, so they want to blame other people. They don't want to sit there and say, oh yeah, it's our Anglican students, it's our Presbyterian and Baptist students that are attacking. It's the other people, it's the people in the building behind you. No, that's bullshit. It's the Anglicans. These attacks are extremely high level. These attacks are things that governments do. These attacks are, cutting edge theoretical attack vectors. Most of them aren't even in the public yet. They're not even first day exploits, 0-day exploits. They're like, and they're not even like a 0-day exploit. That's an exploit that they just found. They're not even reported yet. Um, so, for example, in Senra, they can access all of our computers, and they do so after I remove the wireless and Bluetooth cards. I took the laptops apart and I removed the wireless and Bluetooth cards, and they're still accessing the machines and still changing things on the machines. They're still changing, like, for example, changing NTFS file attributes to make external hard drives read only, so I can't write to them. They do all these things to try and block your work process. For example, when I try to upload videos to YouTube or when I try to talk on Twitter, they start up the battery warning, the battery drops real quick, and I have to restart the phone. And that's another way also, is that they do the battery warning and I'm forced to restart the phone. Another reason they do that is because they've made an adjustment or a change to the phone system and they need a restart to make it persistent, to make it stick. And they want me to do that for legal reasons. They're very, very careful, and they have lots of lawyers telling them that you can do this, and if you do this, then you're not going to get caught. So if he starts the phone, if he starts up the phone and incorporates the package that was in the phone, then it's not you can't be blamed for it. He started it. So they want me to do the restarts, and they want me, if they can force it, so that they can incorporate their changes to the system. So I think the reason that the battery time, I think the reason the phone time is changing from the default when the battery is removed is because I think they're tampering with the recovery, and I think they're tampering with the phone, and they're incorporating their own changes to the system that they utilize and that suits them. The reason I think this is because when I went into, before I started up the phone this time, I went into kernel log, and I looked in the kernel log and I saw lots of recovery items. Like it has a square bracket and it says recovery, and then it has a command. And I'm thinking that is a command coming from recovery. But why is the command coming from recovery? That never happens on normal logs. And then I start up my phone, and then the developer stops because I have developer turned on. It stops, and then the logs are deleted, and this happens all the time. This is like a regular occurrence. Whenever I notice on the logs recovery, I'll also notice when I start up the phone that the battery time is different. And I'll also notice that right after I start up the phone, the developer stops. So they stop the developer after I start up the phone. So they watch me what I'm doing, and then they stop the developer, and then they say, oh, you must have stopped it. You had it open. It wasn't me though. My hand's not even on the phone. And developer restarts. It stops, and then I have to restart it. And when I restart it, the logs are emptied. So all the evidence from the logs is gone. And they know that since my phone's not rooted, I can't access the logs. And as soon as I try to root my phone, they'll probably burn it, right? So their whole intention is to interfere with my activity to stop me from talking about things. This video is fine because they're going to sit and watch it and learn what I have to say, and then they'll modify their attack. But the minute I try to upload this to the net, they're going to hit me with media battery tech warning. So there you go. The time has been changed again. So it's very clear to me that it's the same people that are doing this as they did before. The person that I think was involved since the very beginning, Games Foolfully Next Door, apparently he packed up and left because his 4 years is done. And as I predicted, the attacks would not stop. They would continue. And as I have always pressed and put forth, he's not the only one involved. He's just training that this is a system, that this is a framework established, and that they do this all the time, everywhere. The Anglican Church has buildings, houses, units, property everywhere. So if they want to monitor someone in that location, they just drop one of their goons, one of their digital goons, and they monitor for a couple weeks, and then the stupid prick packs up. There's another prick here that hasn't been here for very long, and he packed up today as well. So they do their shit, they collect their data, they get what they need, they pack up their shit and they leave. They slither away just as cowardly as they slithered in, and they attack the computers or the cell phones that they want to attack, or they try to probe, and if they can't find any evidence, they'll plant evidence to make the person look guilty, and then they move on. And I think they do this all over Australia, and I think the Anglican Church uses these attack techniques to profit, to blackmail, to get information on people so that they can either use now or use later, to gather, to steal data, to steal ideas, whatever, to profit in any way they can. And I think they've been doing this for a very long time, and I think they use members of their community, like the douchebag, psychotic Games Foolfley next door and his friends. They're all psychotic. They all are immoral. They don't care what they break. They broke thousands of dollars of our money has been spent on trying to defend their attacks and fix what they've broken. And they don't give a shit. They just pack up and leave after. Nobody will do anything because they'll deny it. And the next crew moves in and they just deny it. It's someone else is doing it. It's the boogeyman. It's them. It's some mysterious hacker from their bedroom. It's bullshit. It's them. And I wouldn't be. I know. I'm certain that they do a heck of a lot worse than this, and then they try to set it up as hackers, when it's not hackers. In fact, it's them. It's the churchies. It's the people who are claiming to be Christians that are computer criminals. So I think that this is another example of what they do. What they're going to say is, well, who's doing it? All the students that you said that are involved are not here. That's not true. There's a whole new set of students that are here, and several of them are very capable in computers, IT, technology, computer science. There's several Asians that are very, very good at computers, and they were friends with Foolfley. They were friends with Games. So just because Games has left his unit doesn't mean he's left the building. He might be in that building over there. And of course, it's ridiculous to even think about these things. But the fact is they've done it all along. You know, they've gone somewhere and you start up your phone and they pretend to be gone for 2 days, and all of a sudden, boom, you start up your phone and immediately they show up because something's different, because you changed something, so they immediately show up and change their configuration. And then Games runs over to 124 to collaborate with whoever's over there that he's talking with. It's a cell. They're terrorists. Not one person is doing it. A whole bunch of people are doing it. Games came here to train. He even said in his Societas in 2013, "Oh, I'm really looking forward to improving my skills." He doesn't give a shit about the Bible. He doesn't give a crap about people. He cares about himself and about his computer attack techniques. He cares about breaking things. He cares about wickedness in computer attacks. He's a pervert. He's a peeping Tom. He likes to go on people's phones. He likes to go on people's computers. He likes to look at pictures. He likes to try and steal data and try to find guilt in other people. I know it for a fact because I've lived right next to the douchebag for 3 years. I know him. So, and I don't know him with the blind eyes that these Anglican Bible students do either. They're blind to each other. You're in the church? All right, mate. We're best buddies, mate. Right? The guy could have blood on his hands. He got a blood dripping from his mouth, and the guy's like, right, you're going to Moore College. You're going to Moore Theological College, right, mate? Okay. Want to go play rugby? Want to play with the computers? We'll hack somebody. So the whole point is, it's not just one person. They're clearly trying to make it look like it's somebody else, or They just don't give a shit what it looks like, and they're continuing their activities. The activities haven't stopped. The activities continue. The time for the phone has changed in exactly the same way it did when they were here, and nothing is different. There's still uh, the guy next door. He's Games' friend, and he's been here protecting Games. There's still Buddy in that other unit. There's still douchebag Nine Toes. He's still here. He's been here for 10 years. He's never going to go anywhere. He's like the third party, I think. I think that the Anglican property manager here uses him to do some dirty work. Uh, and he has a relationship with the Bible College and with the Moore property manager. It's not me that said that. One of the students that came here in 2013 told me that they have a relationship. Yeah, it's okay, right, mate? We have a relationship. And he's talking about Nine Toes. Blaren is talking about him, that they have a relationship. What is that relationship? I don't give a shit. I'm guessing. Knowing him, not very nice. So the whole point is these attacks are continuing. They've continued for 3 years. That a new crew will come in and they won't stop. That these people have their fangs into the carcass, and they'll never let go. What I mean by that is these people, these Anglicans, these churches, it's far too profitable what they're doing with these computers, and then they're never going to let their secrets out, and then they're never going to stop. They'll just steamroll over anybody who finds out, and they'll deny anything that is made public, and they'll say it's a freaking hacker from China or a Russian hacker or some other horse shit, when it's not. It's them. Well, the fact of the matter is people have to wake up to this, because this is extremely dangerous and this is extremely evil what they're doing. They shouldn't be allowed to do this. Not to mention that the Anglican Church has friends in the Australian government. People like Premier Mike Baird. He's the Premier of New South Wales. One of the attackers that was attacking us went to the same church as Premier Mike Baird did. The same church. And he was student minister at the same church. Student minister, spending his spare time with his buddies' Games and a bunch of other douchebags, hacking computers, giving high fives, breaking the property of innocent people, and then laughing about it on the side, thinking it's funny. Yeah, I have no respect at all for these evil twats. I have no respect at all for what they're doing. They're not good. It's not cool. It's not hacking. It's not, because they're cheats. They have cheats into the machines. They're not using network, because I'm not on the network when they attack. They're using a cheat. I call it Insenra. So, insidious serial nether remote assault. That's what I call it, Insenra. It's a cheat. They can get into any computer they want, and they can get into any phone they want, and they can do whatever they want, and they can monitor for however long they want, and they can sit there like a pervert, peeping Tom, sitting in a tree, watching you sleep. And they do just that. They're evil, wicked people that hide in the church and claim to be Christians, and do these attacks for profit. And it's been happening since 2013. It's 2016 now, and it won't stop. It won't stop until somebody stops it, until somebody figures out how they're doing it and provides a block, and shuts it down. Makes it public, writes a paper, proves, like Patrick Stewin, that you can access machines in this way, and then boom, done, game over. And the weasels will try to figure out another way in. So there it is. Update in December. After the students have left, the attacks have continued, and they're still hitting the phone in the exact same way. They're just leaving. They're just continuing where the other people left off. It's like they left their notes, they left their attack techniques, and then they just are continuing on, making changes as they go along, doing whatever they want, and nothing's changed. It's exactly the same thing as it was before. So the argument that they're going to make is, see, it's not us. Look at all our students are gone. Lies, lies. I'm not hearing any of it. I know what I know, and I know what you people are doing, and the only thing that they're trying to do is cover it up. So they've got their friends here pulling off the shit while they're gone, and good for them. It doesn't mean anything. And I deny any suggestion that they are not involved in these computer attacks, that they're just innocent Bible students. No, bullshit. They are here to train, they are here to learn attack techniques, and they take these attack techniques out into the wild, and they do them on other innocent people. Very uncool.